Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Better Together at English with Shinrai Sensei, and today we are going over active versus passive verbs, right? And these kind of tie into participles that we covered in 3 episodes ago and infinitives that we covered last episode, right? So the participles is more so applicable here, right? The infinitive isn't as much applicable, but this is really a continuation of what we were talking about with the participles and the infinitives and stuff like that, right? In that you'll see the participles at work if you start talking with passive verbs, because the passive verb is a participle basically, and so you add an ing or you slap a to be verb in the middle there, and the other verb kind of becomes a participle in the sense that it's going to be functioning like not a verb, basically. Anything that extracts it from the normal verb position that verb, that action word would be in, that is what this passive verb is. So the participles is one way to take and make a passive verb, and we have a word for that, but the passive verb is just kind of an expansion on that, right? So you have the active verbs are the verb is actually doing its job in the sentence. It is the action taken in the sentence. And then you have the passive verb is some sort of am, is, was, will be, to be. What they call a to be verb is going to be in between the verb that you might think is the action being taken and the subject, which means that this statement of being, basically, this verb of being, is actually the verb in the sentence and not this passive verb. This passive verb is a part of the verb, but it is not the active verb. It is not the verb that the action is being done of, right? It is not the verb that the subject is acting. The subject is acting in a state of being before it acts in the state of the verb. And to clarify that, we will have some examples here. So the active verbs: Kate walks home, Mike eats cheese, Chase drinks water, the dog chased the car, the kids heard the bell. And then in the passive verbs case, we have the dog is walked, Mike was eating cheese, Kate will be walking home, a tone was heard, a bell will be rang. And as I stated earlier, the main difference that you can notice here is that really what is being done by all of the subjects of all of these sentences isn't walking, eating, walking, hearing anything, ringing anything. None of those verbs are what are being done in the sentence. All of those verbs are just adverbs. So once again, kind of functioning like a participle. They're adverbs to a state of being verb, right? So an is verb, a was verb, will be verb phrase, right? And so that these examples hopefully will give you a further clarification. Anything that has this blue underline where you have the subject is doing something, right? It is a state of being, right? So to be verbs are what the blue is. And I'll write that on the board so you guys have it. So all of these are called a to be verb. I'm not really sure if it's just the way that I'm holding the marker, but that wasn't as clear as I wanted it to be. But yeah, all of the blue underline is what is classified as a to be verb. So feel free to take a screenshot of this if you need to for your notes. And if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. But otherwise, that's all for today's lesson, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you guys for your time, and have a great rest of your day. Peace.